All right, back at it again. What's up, folks? I am. Well, you follow me on Facebook. You know who I am. Um, you see the title of this live is "Why do y'all hate Kevin Samuels so much?" Um, so I'll say this: Kevin Samuels went viral in December, and with the average at best thing, I'm not going to run through that. Most of you have already seen it. There have been several other clips of his that have went around, and for the last maybe week or so, I've seen a lot of people on my page, uh, mostly women, in Facebook groups sharing these memes and pictures that pretty much just talk down about the brother for what he's doing. And I'm a little bit lost. And maybe it's because, I agree with many of the things that he says. And I've also been doing this. I've also been doing what he's been doing for years, actually. If you've been my Facebook friend for the last maybe 3-4 years or so, excuse me, you know that I've always been posting things like, things about the hypocrisy that I see in women or some of the ridiculous things that I see that are really leaving a lot of women single. And my thought process these days is, well, let's back up. I've been saying it for 3 years. Kevin Samuels has been saying it since like June of last year. He just has a bigger platform. So for me, there's no Kevin Samuels hype train. It's all just, he's just kind of reinforcing the things that I've been saying for years. Um, but it seems to me like people have a really big issue with what he's doing. Why? The thing to me is that I've never heard anybody say, I don't think I've ever heard anybody say he was wrong about the things he says. Like he's just all wrong. It's always, well, he's telling the truth, but he could change up his tone. Okay. He can change up his tone. It doesn't fit for you, and that's perfectly fine. Um, so let me just talk about the things that for me, I get your popcorn ready. Um, let's just talk about, oh, no, not that one. Let's just talk about the things that some of the things that maybe I disagree with. I think it would be a lot easier if I did that. So I'm not a big fan of the whole. I'm not a big fan of some of the sound effects, like when these big girls come on. I've never heard anybody say, turn this down. I'm not a big fan of some of the sound effects, like when he talks about big girls or girls get their weight or give them their weight. He plays that tuba sound. I'm not really big on that. Fat shaming or whatever. We know it's unhealthy. It can be unhealthy because apparently now you could be overweight and healthy. But the thing is, you can be overweight and healthy right now, but you're not supposed to carry that weight long term. Your body is supposed to, it regulates at a certain size normally. That's one thing. Something else I don't really care for. I think sometimes his patience is a little thin, depending on the call. I think sometimes he misreads. I think sometimes he misreads a woman raising her voice as her challenging him. At times, a lot of times it is them like getting defensive or whatever. But it's only public. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, he raises his voice sometimes with these women, which is fine. No, I'm sorry. They raise their voices at him, and then sometimes he gets a little bit too defensive, which it is what it is. Whatever. Other than that, I can't really find anything I disagree with. Now I could talk about what other people don't like about him. They say he's gay. They say I don't like his tone. They say you've been married twice, divorced twice. What gives you the right to give people marital advice or relationship advice? You're an image. Like, who are you to say that this woman isn't an 8 or a 9? That's your beauty standard, blah, blah, blah. We can go on and on and on and on and on. What's up, folks? Okay. We already got some comments coming in here. So let's see. Jasmine, the issue is his delivery and how he kind of picks and chooses who he gets disrespectful with. And it ain't always about who interrupts him while talking. No, it's not about who interrupts him while he's talking. But what tends to happen, as I've noticed, is he will definitely reciprocate the energy that he's given. He does not. If you are getting chippy with him, he will get chippy right back. And the problem is he's honestly a lot better at getting chippy than a lot of the women that come on. I don't think his delivery or whatever you think it is, that's just how he talks. And maybe because I grew up in a family full of straight shooters. Like, if you come to my dad's family's holiday events, we go hard on each other like it ain't nothing. Like, but for us, it's always the truth. We go hard on the truth. And I feel like it's the same thing with Kevin Samuels. He goes hard on the truth with these people. And to me, I don't really think of it as like, oh my God, he's hurting their feelings. Stop it. No, he's giving it to them straight and direct. And also Jasmine says he wants a taste of both. I really wish y'all would stop with the gay shit. Like, he's addressed it a couple of times. And unless you've seen him having sex with another man, a picture with another man, or in some compromising position, you don't know what that man's sexuality is like. I mean, even with his like flamboyantness or his mannerisms, I've met plenty of guys in my lifetime, and I'm sure you have as well, who have been super not flamboyant, but they've been like kind of, flitty, whatever, and they still get a bunch of women. Like, what's the issue? He seems like he has a chip on his shoulder. A woman hurt him. I don't like how he tells black women, you black women, but won't dare to say white women. He actually did say you white women. He mentioned white women in one post, but he says you black women as I mean, you can disagree with him saying that, but we're human beings. And it's just crazy. Like, you are a woman, yes, but culturally we have differences. There are just some things that white people do that black people don't do. Black women do that white women don't do. And one of the things that happens in our communities, especially the things that he points out usually, is that a lot of our women in our community aren't used to male correction. And so when he raised his voice, or he's straight and direct, and these people challenging him, I mean, he says you black women because, I mean, that's who he's talking to. I mean, he's talking to our people, really. Oh, what am I sipping on? This is Malbec, actually. I discovered this. This is Malbec. I discovered this wine when I was making a lamb chop recipe. They suggested Malbec, and I tried it for myself. It's delicious. It's a perfect blend of sweet and a little bitter for me. So that's my preference. Is he really reciprocating the energy? I watched one video he did. He did come off hard for no reason because he didn't like what the chick said. It's fine to be blunt, but to be randomly, I don't ever think I think it's very rare that he's randomly just disrespectful. Okay. And he's addressed this too. Just because you don't curse him out, raise your voice or whatever, like, women are very good at that. Women are very good at telling you off without actually like getting loud, aggressive, and using curse words. Like, just well, if that's what you think, or just any, like, you talk to women, like, you know how women talk, and you know those feelings where you get like, I don't like how she said that. She probably mean this. Like, he could pick up on that too. He was raised by a single mom, had all these bitter aunts or whatever, so he can pick up on that. There's a story. Who's telling this story about him sleeping with other men? And honestly, there's stories of me in college where people were like, oh, I heard he was gay. He was messing around with XYZ. And I never did any of that. Like, you can't be a black man in America. Like, you got to fit a certain profile. You got to have a certain bit of masculinity. That's ridiculous. Again, unless you hear about him having sex with another man, or see it for yourself, you should not assume. And why is that even a thing? Even if he openly said it, I'm pretty sure more people will listen to him and be like, yeah, girl, he right. Because women tend to like their gay best friend. But if a straight black man acts a little gay, they're like, ugh, get away from me. That's crazy. I'm just going through these comments right now because it's easier for me to do it that way. So does that give him the right to actually criticize all black? I really wish y'all would stop doing this all black women thing. If somebody says men do this, it does not mean all men do a thing. It's a generalization. And we can go to case by case route, but it's like if we spent all day going case by case by case by case, we wouldn't get anywhere. So imagine if like 1,000 people lined up at a food bank, right? And then you ask each one of those individuals what their allergies were. They would never get rid of all the food that they needed. The food might even go rotten, right? So sometimes you have to use this blanket expression to cover a general topic or a general area. Just because somebody says men, women, it doesn't mean all. The smart people with brains would understand that, hey, just because somebody says men and women, it doesn't mean every man and woman. Everybody knows there are exceptions to every rule. There are exceptions to every rule. So why would you think that he would say he would mean all? That's ridiculous. To me anyway. Feels like he doesn't like black women. He's not paying me for this. No. Prince wore heels and could get my panties. That ain't an issue. He's just an asshole. Women like assholes. People make rumors about people every day, but let's be real, whatever. Quickest way to discredit a black guy, you call him gay. Absolutely. You said he mentioned y'all black women. That sounds... Okay. Does every black woman... And of course you ask this, you say that because... Like, not every black woman does this, and that is your answer. Does every black woman do the things that he says he does or that he says they do? No, they don't. So why can't you accept that? When a man says men, women, birds, it doesn't mean all birds. There are like toucans, there are robins, right? They're two different birds. They live in two different places. We get that. But when we say birds fly, not all birds fly. What about turkeys? Who gives a crap? We know turkeys don't fly. We know that. So why get so stuck on the women, the thinking that men, women is all? It's ridiculous. We still going through comments. Yeah, he generalizes a group of black women, not all black women. There are some high sedity black women who don't do any of the things that he says. There are women who were raised to be wives, housewives. I know a couple who don't do any of the things that he says. As far as him not liking black women, it's not about not liking black women. The problem I have these days is that if a man says something that is a critique of black women tend to, and I'm going to say black women because these are the women I deal with. And that I've dated, black women tend to take that as you hate women because they don't like it. But if I say women talk too much, that doesn't mean I hate women. It just means that in general, because I said women, I didn't say all women. I said women talk a lot. I mean, I've had several like phone conversations with women where I literally like will call them. They'd be like, hey, let's talk for a minute. I'm like, okay. And then they talk for 45 straight minutes about themselves. Like, I'm not saying every woman does that, but a good enough number has for me to formulate that opinion. Again, no, he's not paying me for this. Okay, turkeys do fly. What? There are a couple birds that don't. Penguins don't fly. They slide around their bellies. They're birds, or are they mammals? I'm not sure what. The point is, he's an image consultant that says he's trying to help people. But really, most times he's trying to shut them down, embarrass them. I don't think he's ever trying to shut them down or embarrass them. I really think that he's really trying to help them. But what ends up happening is Like every woman thinks their situation is the same. This is a 51-year-old man who's been around the world, been around the country, met all these women, did all these things. He's run through the gamut, ran singles ministries. He's been doing this for years. And every woman seems to call up and say, like, my situation is going to be different. I'm going to fuck him up with this one. Like, they be like, well, that woman who called before, she's 35 and she has 3 kids, but I'm 24 and I got 3 kids. That's different. Like my baby daddy, like we co-parent well, and her baby daddy, he ain't even around. Like, but at the crux of it, they all have something in common. One thing I've noticed is that I used to say, I actually still say sometimes, you are unique just like everybody else, right? A lot of times people tend to take like their personal experience and they think that it makes them unique. But in all actuality, we've heard the expression before, there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. So if Kevin Samuels is asking a woman questions and it reminds him or catches him of some memory he's had with other women, then yeah, he's going to pretty much jump at it and get her and coach her into whatever, or coach her into a better solution, or basically say like, look, you don't need to explain anymore. I understand where you're coming from. I understand your thing. But the problem is these women just want to keep fighting. And I guess because it hurts or whatever, but they want to keep fighting. And then that's when he gets disrespectful. He doesn't try to shut them down. He doesn't hang up on every woman who calls into his show. He doesn't tell every woman to go buy a dog. He doesn't tell every woman they're going to die alone. And I actually want to challenge people that if you have the time, go watch 3 full episodes of his show on YouTube. And it's like 2 to 3 hours long for each one. Go watch 3 full episodes and see if you come away with the same opinion. You want to know why? Okay, making a tuba sound of someone as bigger is embarrassing and uncool. Yeah, but we don't fat shame enough. Like girls get really big, and then we be like, "Oh, girl, you beautiful. You don't need to do anything." We don't talk about in our community. We don't talk about losing weight anymore. We want to embrace everybody and all their differences and all the curves and everything else. But I mean, what is that really doing for anybody? It's not healthy. People get heart attacks. People, have all these conditions that really come with your size and your diet. And we just say, yeah, it's cool. You can go ahead and be that. You beautiful with your diabetic legs being amputated. Like, why do we do that? It's embarrassing, but yeah, we should probably fat shame a little bit. Don't you want healthier people? Don't you want a healthier, better community? I would think. He's not mean. He's direct. Mean is like, I'm literally like picking at you and not even bringing you up. He tells almost every woman that calls into his show, therapy, dating coach, matchmaker, image consultant. Like he tells them the formula to get themselves together if they want to get the man that they say that they want. Let me see. I want to know if I can make this. I wonder if I could edit my audience. There we go. All right. So now I can do this. All right. Now we got actual comments here. I fat shame myself about it to start doing it more on my Instagram. Yeah. I mean, and that's what it really takes a lot of times is people looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, I'm not happy with this. But we don't get that enough in our community. I live in Texas and I know a few Hispanic women, and in their families, the women, they don't necessarily, they fat shame. And the way that they do it is that they'll look at her like, oh, you're like gaining a little weight. You're getting a little pudgy up in here. No man's going to want that. And guess what those women do? They do things to help them lose that weight. And then they end up getting married and or having husbands and having kids. Your husband's like, whoa, who does this dude think he is? He's Kevin Samuels. He's an image consultant, and they ask him about a lot of these things. Your image is more than just your looks, by the way. Your image, fat shaming is motivation. What are you talking about? Your image. Hi, Brittany. I ain't seen you in a minute. Your image is a lot more than just your looks. He often talks about your digital footprint, your appearance, your body. I forgot what the C is for in your digital footprint. That's what he coaches people on. It's just fun going through these comments. So they lose weight for other people to better themselves. This is backwards think. No, it's not. No, it's not. Why would you? Okay, you lose weight for your own health, but you also do it because it's appealing to somebody else. It heightens their chances of getting married or getting a partner because, quite honestly, not all. There are a lot of men out there who don't want big girls. I think what happened in America, this is so strange. What happened in America is that we got what's that movie with Monique, Fat Girls, and Monique and whoever the other girl was, and she was fine. I don't care what nobody says. Monique and the other girl went to Africa, and they were like, "Oh, women your size are beautiful because the women who are too skinny, they're poor." And then big girls just took that and ran with it. Like, yep, I'm big and beautiful. I'm gonna go get me an African man. And even African dudes I've seen, they're like, no, you need to do something about that. 80% of the things you feel, he is out of line for saying. I mean, and I get that. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with all of his tactics, but the main crux of it all is he's honestly, I just feel like he's trying to help build a better community, black community. He always mentions statistics. And I don't know if y'all listen enough to hear it because you only hear clips. The clips don't ever mention statistics, where he talks about 1 out of 4 black women ever get married, which is the smallest percentage of a married group of women in this country. Black women aren't getting married. Black people overall, we were married at a high rate, 80% up until 1965. And then all of these different laws and things came in to take black men out the homes. And now we have we have the highest single population of all these other groups. Like, he always talks about these things, but it's like, oh, that doesn't listen. You don't listen. It's like people don't listen. If you just look at it and look at the statistics, why can't we look at it and say, well, maybe something we're doing isn't working? I don't know. That's just me. And see, even 75, Melan says 75%. Absolutely. Oh, and by the way, if anybody wants to get on the call, just message me and I'll send you the link. And then we can have a bit of a discussion of what you might see. Because I mean, I could talk about this all day and go through comments, but I'd rather have a conversation. And yeah, women say they get called gold diggers for saying they want men with money, but claim he says it and it's okay. I mean, women do want guys who make more money, at least as much or more money than them. But the problem in our community is that black women are going to college at a higher rate than men. Our black men often have other issues that keep us out of schools and out of certain jobs. And it's like, and when the women get to a certain level, they're like looking for black men who have grad degree or bachelor's degrees, grad degrees, and they're looking up, but the number is so few. And then a lot of those women, they just die single. They have their kids and they just die single moms. I mean, that's not being mean. That's the truth. Touch on the fact that he's telling women what the men they are pursuing want, letting them know the factors that make you desirable are not such things as your income. Yeah, he talks about that too. And that's another thing that bothers me. Like, men really don't care how much money you make. I had to tell somebody the other day, if you're dating a guy and he's asking you how much money you make, there's a good chance that he plans on using it somehow. And it could be him being a bum and wanting to mooch off of you. It could be that he wants to take your income and try to help save money and invest in everything, but he's planning on using it in some way. But 9 times out of 10, most dudes don't care about how much money you make because he's going to want to take care of you. He shouldn't really care about. A man is not going to ask you about what your income is. He shouldn't anyway. I don't think he should. Yeah, broke men care. Yeah, broke men care about how much money you make. Absolutely. Because again, they plan on using it somehow. I think I heard him criticize men more. I'd be on board. Okay, so if you want to hear him criticize guys, you got to go back to his shows before like March of 2020. He did that for a very long time. His whole channel, he's had his channel for like 5 or 6 years now. His whole channel for like 3 years was dedicated to talking to men, and specifically men who are like incels or involuntary celibates or guys who had trouble picking up women. He had videos on fragrances. He had videos on things your dad should have told you. And there are videos of him talking to men for for like 3 years. But now it's about women, and now women are like, oh, what is he talking about? Go back and look at his videos. And I mean, the clip is going around where he's talking to the fat dude, the 5'10", 280 dude, about the fat dude was like, oh, I get bad energy from these women. And he kept asking him these probing questions. And he was like, no, your bad energy is not coming from women. It's coming from your own insecurity that you're projecting onto him. And then he's like, do you have a small penis? Right? Like he's asking them, he's getting into these men. And I've watched like a fair amount of those episodes as well. You just got to go back and look for it. Give me 1 second. I will be right back. Okay. Shout out to my brother for this t-shirt. Yeah, I'm always thinking. All right. I told you I'd be right back. Yeah, he asked a dude about his penis size. He's been going hard on men for years. I've watched a bunch of shows. No, nobody's taking over for me. I told you I'd be right back. I've watched a bunch of Kevin Samuels. Honestly, like and this is gonna sound, I guess, real team Kevin, but I think I watch like one episode a day. I didn't watch one today, but I definitely like watch one of his episodes a day just to make sure that I'm like not tripping on what he's telling people and what's going on. But he's always going hard. I mean, he's going hard on dudes. Like he's just is straight, direct, and to the point. He's told dudes to get the fuck off his phone, right? Like it's not unusual. He's Kevin Samuels. He asked because he wanted a certain level of woman, but had nothing to offer, not even a big dick. Yeah, he asked that dude about his penis size. So let's see. And then one thing that bothers me too. This is something that I picked up on today. Happened for the last couple of days. But why is it such a problem that dudes are following him or that dudes listen to him? Like women look around, they're like, wow, this Kevin Samuels obsession is really strange. Like, who are we supposed to listen to? A lot of these guys, or I won't say a lot of these guys. I'll say that some guys, I mean, I have my dad. My dad's been around my whole life, but I'll tell you this. My dad, I don't feel gave me enough guidance when it came to dating. So a lot of stuff I had to learn on my own. And a lot of guys are kind of in the same boat. Like nobody gave them a guide on how to deal with women. They dealt with women in the way that they think they should. And then all of a sudden it doesn't go the way that they think it should. And, they go seek guidance from dudes like him. So what's wrong with dudes seeking these guidance? There are like several YouTube channels where the women are like these level up channels and Pink Pill and all that stuff that talk to women, and dudes aren't over there complaining. No, I'm not listening to Derek. Man, listen, I'm not listening to another Derrick Jaxn video until Derrick Jaxn decides that he wants to until Derrick Jaxn decides he wants to have like a live conversation with somebody. There actually is one clip I saw where Derrick Jaxn actually was at a radio station talking to, I want to say it was Keisha Cole. And he basically was like, he basically had told her, maybe you might be the problem. And Derrick Jaxn, he seemed actually pretty reasonable, but Derrick Jaxn is also a brand. It's the fact that a lot of the same dudes that love Kevin say Russell, who publicly love their. No, that can't be right. No. That can't be right. That's definitely not right. Because if you see a guy who is showing a bunch of love to Kevin Samuels, who preaches black love, being married, finding you a good woman, and then they come around and shit on Russell Wilson, that dude is nuts. That doesn't even make sense. Actually, ever since listening to Kevin Samuels, I've actually been a little bit more marriage minded. Actually, like I actually look at marriage as like, wow, I really want that to happen for me. I want marriage. I want to have a wife. I want to have somebody there, so I won't die alone. Like watching Kevin Samuels actually, and this kind of goes into another point. From what I've heard from other guys, married, unmarried, or whatever, Kevin Samuels has influenced them to be more marriage minded, and he's made them want to be better men. And not necessarily just high value men. I don't really care for that. I don't really care for that term. But like Melan, if you want to get on the call, I'll send you the link. But he talks to these guys, and a lot of average guys call in. They listen about high value men and what these women want. And a lot of guys that I know, they listen to him and they want to be better men for these women. I know for sure I want to be better. I want to be better for whoever I'm with. I want to be that leader and the things that she need, protector, provider, and all that stuff. So I make sure now, and I'm getting myself in order. I'm making sure I dress better. I'm actually, I haven't had a beard trim up in a while, but I'm making sure now that I see my barber, once a week, every 2 weeks, just so I can trim up my beard, be clean cut, taking care of yourself. That's a lot of the things that he preaches. And I know a lot of dudes who look at themselves in the mirror, even when watching these episodes about women. They definitely see that, and it makes them want to be better for the women that they want to pursue, especially if they want a high value woman. We don't talk about high value women. You always hear the term high value men, but when we talk about high value women, we're talking about those 8s, 9s, and 10s who are, and actually the things that he tells women that men want: fit, feminine, beautiful, inspirational, cooperative, submissive. Wear your natural hair, right? Those are all the things that he talks about men have been asking for years, but women seem to think that whatever they do is supposed to be perfectly okay, and we're just supposed to accept it. Like a man's opinion doesn't matter. Does it matter? He makes men think about. You don't think he makes women think about their worth? I've seen a few videos on YouTube, reaction videos. I've seen after the call videos of people who have been on Instagram live with him or who have called him on Facebook. And a lot of them said, like, yeah, after I called him, like I was in my feelings, and people were reaching out to me like, yeah, girl, you ain't have to deal with all that. He a bum. He is da. And they would sit back and they realize, like, wow, people are really just like hyping me up. And that's one thing that black women do a lot with each other. I understand that we live in a society where black women it's hard to say now, but black women are at the bottom of the social totem pole. And I know that a lot of us feel like we need to hype each other up to make sure that we don't slip under the cracks. But we hype each other up so much that we end up lying to each other. And a lot of those women who do those reaction videos or the response videos to their calls with Kevin Samuels, they'll say, like, I've been hyped up by people all my life and nobody's told me the truth. Kevin Samuels will go in there, tell you the truth. And you might feel bad for a while, but in the long term, it makes them want to be better people. Shout out to the reactions up in here. I see you. Okay, just going through. I'm not gonna. Oh, let me go back to. I'm gonna go back up to a post that or a comment that I saw. Which 3 episodes do you recommend? Honestly, I've watched so many at this point. They all kind of run together, and even then, a lot of the episodes start to run together because many of the calls end up being the same thing. Like I said, many women call in, they think like, oh, I got this new information, I'm about to fuck Kevin Samuels up, and then it ends up being the same thing. You could go back and look at his most popular episodes if you go on YouTube and if you go on YouTube and you look up his channel, go to the video, sort through the most popular. Just don't even watch the clips because the clips really don't even give you like a full spectrum of what happened. Go watch those 2-3 hour episodes that he has. Just the top episodes. And I promise. I love black women too. I really do. And honestly, and I think Melissa said it right. I think Melissa said it right, is that I don't think Kevin Samuels would do this if he hated black women, because he's encouraging a lot of them to get married or to be realistic about their expectations so they will get married. Why is a 40-year-old, 5'2", 270-pound, oh, maybe that's a lot. Why is a 5'2", 200-pound woman with 3 kids trying to find a 6-figure guy to come save her, right? And he's there to just be like, hey, stop it. Be realistic, all right? You want a man to come in. A man can't come in and save you from that situation. All right? He's there to help them. If he was there to hurt black women, I don't think many black women would still be watching his channel. I don't think that there'd be a woman on his. There's a video right now of a woman who is thanking Kevin Samuels because she met her fiance in his Facebook group. She got proposed to in Aruba and she's getting married. So if he was trying to hurt black women, he wouldn't even be there. And yes, I did watch Amend. Amend was pretty good. And there wasn't too much about the women's part of it that I could really argue with it. I mean, technology did change a lot of things for the marital structure and our social structure, and we have to learn to adjust to it. But what happened too is that a lot of time, like the accountability portion of it really didn't cross over either. So now you're working and everything and you get to vote. But when it comes to certain situations, like women don't even want to pick what place they want to eat at. They want to leave that up to a man. So like, no, you want equality. You need to pick where you want to eat sometimes too. Going through the comments. Yes, I did watch Men. I love black women. Get the likes up. Yeah, get the likes up for Ronnie Samuels. I really don't. I try not to go down that road. I mean, I'm not wearing a tie or anything. I'm not showing you the fragrance of the night, and I don't have the little spinny thing. I got Kermit right here. That's my jam. Kermit will be in every live stream I ever do. All right, so, and if black men shouldn't listen to Kevin Samuels, like who else should we listen to? Like honestly, like this kind of goes into like another topic, but we live in a world where men aren't uplifted the same way that women are. Like you can talk about me being a man and my privileges or whatever, but we also live in America where everything a woman is celebrated and everything a man is kind of like poo-pooed on. I was on the Bitmoji app. If you go on the Bitmoji app, you can type in man, and all that'll pop up is like hashtag MCM, and then everything else is like many things, many thanks, I'm hungry. But if you type in woman, it's like girls rock, you go girl, you can do it, sis, blah, blah, blah. Like it's a lot of hyping up women, but not enough hyping up men. Did you know that the suicide rate for men is extraordinarily higher than it is for women? Why don't we talk about that? Why don't we push for, I mean, we push for men to be more emotionally intelligent and open up and everything, but we don't talk about the reason why we ask that, because man suicide is higher than anybody else. And for anybody who might want to get this, Jeremiah Nalani, love women, high value, men avoid. High value, men avoid. Men should pay for everything. Yeah, men should pay for everything is a good one too. All of those are pretty good. You won't find too many bad ones. Like I said, they all kind of run together, and Kevin Samuels is consistent enough to where, I mean, you can listen to pretty much every show and get the same thing. And you'll see that his responses to women kind of run the gamut on fix my hat. Like his responses to women just kind of run the gamut. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's the mirroring for me. His response to women kind of just run the gamut of responses. I mean, everything from get the fuck off my phone, I'm tired of you broads, to, you know, that was very nice. That was a good call. Have a nice day. I really hope that works out for you. He does all of that. But it's almost like people don't pay attention to it. To me, Jesus, that's a lot to read. I can't stand when folks do that. You ever? Sometimes I get a text message that's way too long, and I'll just text back, "I'm not reading that." There's no way in hell. To me, it just hit a year in past 2020. So yes, because we needed a sad effect how we improve. It's sad fact how we are viewed and have always been viewed by men. Girl power is the same thing as black power. Nobody wants to see white power. That's why men may not be celebrated as much, because they have been celebrated. It's a man. Men are okay. So you can celebrate women all you want, but that doesn't mean that you take away from men. Like that's part of the problem. And actually another broadcast I want to do on what I think is the secret war on femininity is that we've hyped women up so much that we've poo-pooed everything that a man is, and men really don't see a value in women's lives anymore. And that's why a lot of people just opt not to get married. Between that and like divorce rates and the way the court systems are set up to basically give women everything. Like, yeah, it's a man's world, but if you look at it the way it is right now, men are getting screwed over tremendously. So celebrate all you want, and by all means, if I ever have daughters, I want them to have equality of opportunity. I want them to be able to choose whatever they want to do with their lives. I want them to be free. I don't want them to worry about, constantly being in danger or whatever. But at the same time, we can't let our boys slip under the cracks. And that's why a lot of our community is missing, is that, like, we always ask about or say that we want black men to protect black women, but that's what your husband is for. And then if you do really want black men to protect black women, why don't you support black men instead of art? Like we have so much infighting between us. Like even with this whole thing now and Kevin Samuels, why is it so much that that's because women uplift each other more than because we're not allowed to talk to each other, for one, in a lot of cases, and two, men don't really see a value in each other either, because many of them were raised by single moms who didn't say anything good about their dads, or can't even teach a man, like, look, this is what your worth in society is. Media in general hypes up men, even children's cartoons. A lot of them have competent female protagonists, while males are morons. Like, look at The Simpsons. Look at Family Guy. You can look at like King of Queens. I mean, even in Tyler Perry shows, House of Pain, Curtis is like semi-competent, but he's still a goofball, right? Like we don't really have a lot of competent men on television anymore. I mean, you look at the superhero shows, but this is fictional stuff. Like I got Black Lightning playing right now, and even Jefferson is like always in his feelings and not all the way. Like, he makes a lot of mistakes. I mean, we don't really celebrate men the way we should, honestly. I don't agree that only my husband should protect me. As a woman, I always fight for black weathers. And I agree with you on that, but your main source of protection should be your husband. Honestly. But like especially like if it's some woman, like there was a post that came up in a group that asks, if a woman is on the side, is in the hood and her car breaks down, are you gonna stop by and help her out? Might be a setup, right? We have so many issues in our community, and just because you're a black woman, it doesn't necessarily mean you should be entitled to protection, because those same black women often will turn around and crap on the men, and they have a lot to say about men. Marge is not a moron. Marge makes a lot of the wise decisions. Yes, that's her husband, but she shows him love and she lets him lead. But that doesn't make her. That's if that's the case, and a lot of y'all were idiots for like your baby daddies and your ex-husbands, because y'all let them dudes lead, and y'all didn't think enough of him to stay, or they didn't think enough of you to get married. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree that we need to protect each other. We should protect each other. We should look after each other. We should make sure that we're in the best places, or put ourselves in really good positions. And I mean, as an educator, like, I try to protect my kids as much as possible, but there are a lot of instances too where, and this is going to sound really shitty, but a lot of these women put themselves in positions to where they put themselves in a position and then all of a sudden expect a man to protect them. That's why should I protect you if you did that to yourself? Now I got to fix your mistake just because you want to snap at somebody, or you want to challenge a man. Yeah, if you want to step up and challenge a man, knowing that a man can beat your ass, don't look at me because he wants to start putting his hands on you. You did that to yourself. Now, should I let him put his hands on you? Absolutely not. But you also have to understand, like, you people do this to themselves. Like, if you're in a situation where you're at a club and a dude's like accosting you and like he's grabbing you and like you're trying to pull away and stuff, that's a bit different. But if you're in a situation where you like mouthing off or like whatever, don't expect some dude to just jump in and save you. That's your fault. Yeah, it's a husband's job to protect his family. If you got in trouble, let's say you got into a situation where you were in trouble and you needed a man's help, you would be more apt to call like an uncle or a brother rather than go get the dude that stays 2 doors down from you, who you say hi to every morning. The men you love are the ones that are supposed to protect you the most, especially because they're the ones closest to you. Like you say, we can say protect black women all we want, but most situations where black women are in the most danger are domestic situations, where if a husband like starts beating on his wife, she's gonna call her brothers. Nowadays, you can reject a guy and other guys will stand by while he disrespects or hurts you. Well, the problem is with that is that these are words. And let's just say the opposite occurs, right? Let's just say a dude approaches you and then she turns around and be like, get the fuck, like starts cussing him out and everything. Like, what are his boys supposed to do? Are his boys supposed to jump in and protect him? His boys 9 times out of 10 are gonna clown him for it, and he's gonna let that roll off his back. and then he's gonna keep it moving. But what happens a lot of times with ladies that y'all take it personally, and you're like, "Oh my god," y'all take hurt feelings like he just punched you in the face. No, so there are many forms. There are many forms of protection. Abso-freaking-lutely, and I agree with you on that. But how do you really expect just random strangers, dudes, to like jump? See, one of the things that we often get taught one of the things that we often get taught growing up is to like stay out of other people's business because you never know what might pop off. I'm not going to jump into a fight. I'm not going to jump into a fight because I don't know if somebody has a gun, right? Or a knife. There are a bunch of innocent people who try to intervene in altercations who get killed in those altercations. Excuse me. You said disrespecter hurts you. You say you're not talking about words. You should have been more specific. If you're talking about like physical threats, like I have never been in a situation where I have watched a dude beat some chick's ass. Never in my life. Never. I've never seen it. It happens. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. I'm not going to say that there aren't dudes around that won't stop it. But what you're also asking a man to do is to step in and risk his life for a stranger. You're asking a man to risk his life, to put his life on the line for you. And he gets nothing out of it but just the honor of dying for a woman. Which sounds, I mean, I guess to you it might sound great, but to a guy, it's like, I don't know her. I'm not having sex with her. I'm not dating her. Is she gonna go out with me if I actually save her? Like, these are all things that go, like, what benefit other than being black do you have to my life? And I'm not saying that, again, not saying that that you shouldn't be protected, but what I'm saying is you have to, and this is one of the things that Kevin Samuels says a lot too. You have to ask yourself, like, what are you asking this man to do? Here's a good example. Got cut. Chick was with the dude a week later. It happens. Again, a lot of the times the women don't need protection from random strangers. They need protection from the dudes that they're actually with. And most of the times they'll just end up going back with them for whatever reason. So am I supposed to just jump in there, grab her and say, you don't need to be with this guy. He's bad for you, just for her to go back with him? That's ridiculous. I'm talking about friends hanging around each other. Yeah, friends will hang around each other, but okay. At this point, I'm just sitting here sipping wine. Again, if anybody, and I may have put this, should have put this in a thing. If anybody wants to get on a call, by all means, I'll send you the link and we can talk about this. But you really have to ask yourself, what are you asking of these men? See, a lot of times, like, men understand consequence. We understand that if I react a certain way, these things can end up in fisticuffs. There's a low level threat of violence between men. Even if we get together in a group, we understand that if it crosses a certain line, things can get ugly. But for some reason, when it comes to like women wanting to be protected, y'all don't understand that men will actually like fuck each other up if the opportunity came. All right. That's just something we have to worry about. So it's a little frivolous for you to just think a guy's supposed to jump in there and protect you and save you, and his friends are supposed to jump in there and like get him, but you don't know what that guy's capable of. His friends might know, and that guy could be completely harmless. Or he could be a stone cold thug. He could just be a stone cold thug. Right. But you got to be really cognizant of what you're asking men to do. Men, again, low level threat of violence. We will really seriously mess each other up, and we know that. That's why we don't. That's why men usually don't engage with each other on like these higher levels of like we don't come at each other with aggression. All right, unless you like a super alpha type dude, we don't come at each other with aggression like that. I just sent you the link. Hope you got it. Do. All right. All right. If you want, after I take my boy home, I'll join. All right. I don't know how much longer it'll be on. Was it 7:30? Oh man, my bedtime not for another hour and a half. We could do this all night. I'm sorry, I'm not doing this all night because social media is stressful. Okay, let's back to Kevin Samuels until I have my guess. Maybe don't women want men to be better? If you want men to be better, why are y'all poo-pooing him looking for a different way to be better? Like, and this is one of the things that I thought about too. And this is how I had to calm down off of feeling so frustrated of why people don't like Kevin Samuels. It's like Malcolm versus Martin, right? The Nation of Islam grew because people felt Malcolm's message. He was straightforward, direct to the point. He said all these poignant things to the white power structure that were somewhat dangerous. Excuse me, not dangerous, but it was dangerous to him and a threat to him and his life. He took a risk. And then other people felt like he was too dangerous and went with Martin because Martin was preaching integration. But they were both great leaders. Why is it that, especially when you start asking, like, he should change his delivery. His delivery is what throws me off. That's perfectly fine, but his delivery works for other people. Just like Malcolm's delivery worked for other people. Just like Martin's delivery worked for some people. You're just gonna have different takes on things. It's kind of like what I mean. Kevin Samuels is a Kappa. It's kind of like how we have the Divine Nine in the first place. All of them want to get to the same point of Black excellence, but they all have a different way of going about it for different people. So why poo-poo on and shit on people who want to take the Kevin Samuels route, thinking that he needs to change his tone or the way he talks to people? It works for those people. Now, if you want to just jump in and engage because you like to argue, that's on you. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who I've talked to, and the reason why his audience has grown from, I think it was like 170,000 in December to now it's at almost 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. There's a reason why it's grown. People are connecting with his message. And why is that a problem? Why do you have to call him gay? Why do you have to say he's feminine, he hates women, just because you don't agree with the way he delivers it? Because I've never heard it. I have barely heard any woman say that he's wrong. Even the women in this thread who were like, even the women in the thread who were like, I just don't like his delivery, have said that they agree with him at least 75% of the time. And that's 3/4 of the time. That's a lot. But you just don't like the way he says it. He's not going to change the way he says things. So why not try to change what you can, which is the way you listen to it? Again, I grew up in a family full of very honest people. You should really hear our holiday roast sessions with my dad's family. Very honest people. And so the honesty, the bluntness, the rudeness, as y'all call it, it doesn't really affect me that much. What's up, all 19 people who are still in the live chat? 18 people on the 20. Oh, wow. Why not just listen to him? Yeah, if that's the case, why not just not listen to him? Absolutely. If that's how you feel and Kevin Samuels isn't your cup of tea, don't listen to him. But also, you shouldn't be shitting on people who decide that that's the way that they want to take it. His message may not resonate with you. It may not, like, I know some people who are triggered by his shit talk because they grew up in that environment and they don't like that, and that's perfectly fine. But some people look for that kind of guidance and direction. Some people look for that kind of guidance and direction from people like him because they don't get that in their real life. What's up, Sherelle? And I'm gonna add Milan to the stream. What's up with the chakras in the background? I see you. What's the haps, Cap? What you got for me? Kevin Samuelsism.
What you got for me? I don't know. I'm about to piggyback off you. What you got for me? You the host.
Is there a difference between? That's a good question. Is there a difference between the way he talks and the way Iyanla Vanzant talks? I think Iyanla Vanzant probably tries to. She probably tries to sugar it with a little bit more love, like baby, sweetheart. She has that motherly tone, but it's essentially the same thing. IMO.
I feel like I can tell that when Iyanla talks to you, it may be it's tough, but it feels like tough love. I feel like when he talks, it's like, yeah, don't challenge me no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's more ego driven than I'm really trying to take care of you and help you out type feel.
Well, I think if it was more ego driven, you probably wouldn't get him at the end of calls telling people to get a therapist, get a dating coach, or like you have some of those soft endings where people are kind of just, they listen to him talk and they're like, yeah, you're right. I'm gonna think about this. And those are the ones that don't make the clips. The clips are the ones that really mess people up and the ones they don't want to listen to. But I think I've seen a lot of positivity coming out of his shows. But Iyanla, Iyanla ain't really fixed nobody for real. She ain't. Everybody who pops up on her show end up like in the headlines later for some bullshit.
So do you think that part of the way that he talks to people, do you think that he knows that it drives his ratings up, and part of that is for entertainment or shock value? Because I do. I think he gets off on it sometimes.
I think at times, whether or not, I think he's sincerely trying to help, but I think still when we get into these spaces of like YouTube, social media, where you can get like approvals and likes and stuff like that, you still get that like little dopamine hit when things go right. When things, you get reactions, and I think he knows what he has to do to get reactions. It's kind of like me. Like I don't always put up some calculated status to like get reactions out of people. But I understand that sometimes I do that. And I also understand too that for me, I don't necessarily get unfriended and unliked I don't get unfriended because it's entertaining to people. So he could very well know what he's doing. But I think also that he provides enough balance to where you don't necessarily think he's feeding off of that 100% of the time.
No, I can agree with him. Like a lot of the stuff, and I find myself conflicted because I'm mad. So I'm like, damn, he not wrong. But at the same time, it's almost like also I wouldn't hire you because you're not about to talk to me like that, and I'm coming to you for advice. Or if I'm paying you, we're gonna box straight up. Like it's just certain things like, damn, you right, but watch your mouth. Type, I'm like, ooh, I can't.
Yeah, I think
God's still working on me.
I think what often happens is that, and again, this is just by my observation, there are those select few times where I think he's going a little bit overboard with people, but I think most of the time he's just reacting off of the way they react. So if I tell you one thing and then you question it, because I've dealt with this a lot, especially in dating, like especially because I'm a very, I won't say argumentative, but I don't have a problem challenging your thoughts, views, and opinions. And so if I'm challenging you and I make up a point and you start moving the goalposts, I start getting frustrated because I'm like, you're not even staying within topic. And I think that's what happens a lot of times because he'll say one thing and they'll be like, okay, well, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And it's like, no, listen, those things are like, Like those things are nice, and I know that's your personal experience, but they're kind of irrelevant to my point. And so I can see where he gets frustrated. Again, I think I said at the beginning, I have what Kevin Samuels is doing on his YouTube channel, I've been doing on my Facebook page for like 3 years. So I get it. Does he feed off of it? I mean, anybody who's a content creator, especially with the way he runs it, I'm pretty sure that there's some kind of like ego boost in it, but I don't think that's his sole purpose.
Do you think he's good at being disagreed with? Do you think he'll let anybody disagree with him?
I mean, he's let a lot of people disagree with him, but he'll go back with just facts. He'll go back with facts and ask them questions. And I heard somebody say once, he gives them enough rope to hang themselves. Like he doesn't really like, because people will talk about the whole thing is about Kevin, Amber. It was supposed to be anyway, but you know, there's no script to this. What was your question again? It's the wine.
They could let somebody disagree with them.
I think he's okay with the disagreement, but what ends up happening is that he'll bounce it back with facts. He'll give them enough rope to hang themselves, because he doesn't necessarily tell women what they are and aren't. He'll just ask them questions and then be like, okay, you said this, you said this, you said this. And then they'd be like, oh yeah, that does sound bad. But I mean, they can disagree, and I've seen them disagree. But again, he'll just bring up facts and whatever anecdotes he can. Some of them still disagree, and that's perfectly fine. But I guess that's when he reaches the point to get the fuck off my phone.
I guess I just don't see enough conversation or room for conversation. Like, for example, he'll ask a woman, okay, so how tall are you?
Mm-hmm.
How much do you weigh? And then she'll tell him how much he weighs, and then automatically he'll go and he'll make a face or hand in the camera, and then she'll be like, no,
he'll play the tuba sound.
I look good though. Like, oh, but my waist is small. Like, you can't. I feel like he has in his head, and then when she tries to tell him, like, okay, I weigh this much, but this is what I look like. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. And then she's like, but wait. And I'm just like, well, damn, let her say, because you know she might look damn good. You don't know, just because the BMI states on a chart. You know what I'm saying, that if you're this tall and weigh this much, then you're overweight. Yeah, I think my BMI said I was overweight, and I'm tiny, so I don't.
But you got
that don't make no sense.
I was gonna say you got 30 pounds worth of titty on your chest, but but I think that's where the dress size thing comes in, because you can weigh. I mean, as a guy, I've looked at women and guessed wrong, and like been way under when I should have been way over. But I think that's where the dress size part comes in, because you can't really argue dress size, because most women who are like a 10 look like, you know what a 10 looks like, you know what a 12 looks like, you know what a 6 looks like, you know what a 2 looks like no matter how much you weigh at whatever height, like it kind of looks the same. So I think that's where the dress size part comes in. But I think he does give them enough. I think he gives them enough room for conversation. Well, those are kind of definite numbers. It's the other stuff where you get conversations. But he's an image consultant, and like that's his expertise. And I think a lot of people skip over that when he starts talking about dress size and appearance and all that stuff. Like, he's just not doing this because it's his own personal thing. Like, in order for you to be an image consultant, you have to understand what attractiveness is, not only from a social standpoint, but from a scientific standpoint as well. And I think he talks about that quite a bit.
Like proportions and symmetry and
high cheekbones and eye cup. That's why he said Rihanna is like a 10. Rihanna's a 10, Kelly Rowland's a 9, Beyonce is an 8. I think that's pretty fair.
In my book, they're all 10s. I smash.
Well,
Anyone.
let's put it this way. Um, have you ever been cheated on?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know what the girl looked like?
Yeah.
Was she prettier than you or uglier than you?
Never prettier than me.
Okay. Dudes don't care.
In my experience,
I said dudes don't care.
That's what I was about to say. In my opinion, it was just it was easier. It was more convenient. It was available. So,
Yeah.
that
And that's
really matters.
one of the things that comedian Patrice O'Neal said in a joke one time. He was like he's like, dudes don't really care. Like, you see a bunch of women who are like if they saw Idris Elba, they'd be ready to like throw it all away, right? Because he's Idris Elba, he fine, he got the status, he whatever, right? But like if you presented a dude like, or that's why you don't hear dudes talk about like, man, I'd give it all up for like Beyonce, like I'm trying to get backstage at her concert, because there's a girl who works at McDonald's who looks just as good or like a little bit, you know what I mean? Dudes don't care. Looks matter, but also we understand what we're able to get.
So is it that your standards low when it comes to just getting some pussy? Is it that you have no? Does your penis have no standards? Is that how that works?
No, this is actually the perfect comment right here. What Buzz said: men cheat for accessibility, right? We don't really care. I mean, it's not that we have like low standards. It's just that it's there. She's cute enough, and we don't really think about sex as this thing that we have to save. Like, women are born with a finite amount of eggs in their system, and those finite amount of eggs are released in a painful way when they go to waste, right? As a guy, I make 2 billion sperm a day, right? I can just shoot that in the sock and just 2 million more comes up, right? So we don't think about sex in a way that the same way women do. It's a precious thing for you because not every dude can. You won't let every dude in you because, of course, disease is easier for you to catch, and then it's also easier for you to get pregnant or whatever. But like, dudes don't really care.
Women can only get pregnant for 12 to 24 hours once a month, honestly. So that ain't the issue. I think the issue around women and sexuality and why we are not as fluid as men has nothing to do with the amount of eggs, because the amount of eggs is going to be the amount of eggs, and I'm only releasing one a month regardless at a specific time. If I can fuck 70 men in between this month and that month, and it's not going to change anything. What I think it is society and the way that I'm supposed to keep, because I'm a woman, I'm supposed to keep it. It's not ladylike, or my womb is more sacred, or if I do it, I'm a hoe. If a man does it, he's just being a man. I think that is why women are not, just from history, you watch the man, but from history, what we were made to be. I think that's why. I don't think it has anything to do with anything else, because you can pop pussy all day long.
Well, a couple of things in that. I've read a book called Sex at Dawn that talked about non-monogamy in humans, and one of the things that it said was that before domestication, they didn't know where babies came from, so people were just like having orgies like crazy. That was the thing to do. But once they figured out that, like, this is how babies are, they just thought babies existed. And once they were like, this is how babies are made, that's when they started paying attention to the woman's reproductive system. And then like, she can have this many babies, blah, blah, blah. But I think what happened was to keep population down a bit, I guess. God, I lost my train of thought. This wine is delicious. That's why I don't drink. But women are I've met a lot of women who are a lot hornier than dudes, especially as you get older. But also, I think women are smarter than men in a sense that women understand that it's easier for them to they're more susceptible to diseases because it's inside of you. And B, you don't want to get pregnant by everybody. Unless you one of them chicks who just like got some kind of issue and you just want cum or whatever.
I feel so. Yeah, yes, and so in my relationship, we are, and we are polyamorous, or that's at least what we believe in. We are not currently, but it has always been. It's a possibility. The possibility of the thing, and so we often have the discussion about. So yeah, bring a third in, of course, no problem. Oh, you want to go get a girlfriend? Of course, I don't care. I'll go get a girlfriend. Sure, fine. Oh, but if I say, okay, well, there's this dude, it's like, ooh, now, and why is that? And when we talked about it, he was like, well, because it's a little different. You actually have to be penetrated. It's more sacred. And I'm like, but what the fuck does that mean? At the end of the day, you both are engaging in an act. At the end of the day, it should be just as, I guess, spiritual or whatever for one party as it is for the other. I don't think personally it's any different for a man or a woman. Personally. I mean, because if you want to be honest, to me, y'all can go make way more babies than we can. So if anyone needs to be more careful with who they're fucking and when, it's men. Because one, like I said, I can only get pregnant at one time during the month. Two, once I become pregnant, I'm gonna be pregnant for a long period of time, and in that period of time, you can go fuck as many women as you want and have a million babies.
Well, what you're also kind of forgetting too is that I can go get a bunch of women pregnant, sure, but that's not going to do anything to my body. That's not going to put me out of commission for 9 months. I can go get a chick pregnant today and go get a chick pregnant tomorrow. I mean, and that's kind of the difference. That's really the difference in all of that is just that for a woman, it's a little bit deeper than just like, oh, I had sex and I got, without a condom. I can go have babies and they go off and run somewhere else, right? Like my sperm could go in a sock and I could throw that sock away and never see it again. You don't really have that option. How did we get here?
I don't remember.
This is supposed to be about Kevin Samuels. Can you do a show on poly? I absolutely can. I was in an open relationship myself one time too. 2 of them actually. There's a heavier consequence for women as compared to men from a sex standpoint. If there weren't more women, would be more liberated in their sexual endeavors, I believe. Yeah, women just tend to be a bit more careful. He said a chick who wants cum got issues though. I mean, maybe. I don't necessarily think so, but like I also know that there are a bunch of women who are just like, just no condom. It's cool. And they usually have some kind of deep-seated issue that makes them okay with that. They don't care. I did this before, Akani. I am drinking it's Pizzella, it's Malbec. It's one of my favorites. It's a good blend of dry and sweet. I'm switching to water though, because brother man gotta go to bed at some point, and hangovers are not cool. But yeah, so back to Kevin Samuels. But even like you, like I don't really think that you really have like a disdain for Kevin Samuels. I think from what I'm hearing, you just kind of like most people, it's just kind of like the delivery of like, what? Like, where's this coming from? But you also understand too that he's kind of giving some kind of value to the community. He's telling a lot of these women things that they've never heard before.
And you know what else it is? It's sometimes, like you said, it's the way he comes off sometimes, but more so what it is that annoys me is when I see men who only hang on those demeaning or rude things or negative things that he may say about women, and then turn him into like a superhero only based off of the trash shit that he does. And you see a lot of it, like I said, you see those same guys would be like, like I say, Russell Wilson is a simp, or Lori Harvey is a hoe, or whatever the fact. And but when they find something that they think just by the clips puts down a woman, they're like, oh yeah, let's jump on that train. And I don't like when women do that either. I don't like when women sit up all day and be like, niggas ain't shit. I hate that.
Well,
both sides. Like,
I just think that if you're a guy and you say, if you want to like listen to Kevin Samuels and then say Russell Wilson is a simp, you're listening to Kevin Samuels for all the wrong reasons. Honestly,
that's my point.
Yeah, and there are, but like
trash.
But it's kind of like that for everything in this world, though, right? Like you're gonna get different things from, like, let's just say like church, for instance, right? I'm not a big church goer, but I love the music in church. The music in church is what gets me to go. It's not the message by the pastor. It's not the love from the congregation. It's the music. While other people, they go for the pastor, they go for the congregation, they go for the fellowship. I go for the music. So different people are getting different things from him. But what I think what tends to happen is that I think the connotation of like who says it kind of has a huge impact. It's kind of like how people are upset when they about being called female. Like I always say, I've been saying lately, like nobody had a problem being called female until the dude who couldn't read found out he could use another word instead of bitch, right? Like nobody cared about being called female until that dude was like, "Oh, I can say something else other than the B word. Cool, I'm gonna say this." And so now it's like this thing where people are offended, like he really means bitch. No, he said female. So I mean, with Kevin said the same thing. You said what?
Or it's just not that hard to say. It's just not that hard to say woman, because you rarely hear anybody reference a man and be like, "Oh, these males." Oh,
no, because it's been supplemented by the N word. But it's been supplemented by the N word. That's what, like when women want to say like the male version of bitch, they say nigga. These niggas, that nigga.
I just say nigga, period. So I don't know. For me, I don't know, but I can't say what I say personally because it's not about me. We're talking about in general.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. But then at the same time, to negate that, men reference other men as niggas too.
Okay, and women reference males. And women reference each other by the B word. But if I sat up here and called you a bitch the entire time, I would be persecuted, and then my Facebook page would be reported. Somebody would be trying to send this video to my job, trying to get me fired.
It's different. It's all in the way you say
it.
Like, say it. Like for instance, yes. So like me and my husband have been best friends since we were 6 years old. So we have an interesting dynamic.
Don't remind me.
Where like we'll play and talk, and like if something happens, he'll be like, bitch, you know what I'm saying? But he'll talk to me and I don't be mad. But at the same time, and we were arguing, he was like, bitch, I'd be like, my head would spin. So it's like it's different. It depends on how you're saying it. Definitely.
Well, so
a man can say that playing with me. I don't care. My
problem with so I always have a problem with the how you're saying it narrative because it's always like what's the line? Like what's too much? Like and no, you can say that all you can say all I want, but to you it's different for somebody else. So I can say like I could like be joking, like getting my gay character, bitch, yes. And some girl be like, no, you just didn't call me a bitch. While other girls be like, okay, yes, bitch, we gonna play around with it. Like it's like where's the line? It's different for everybody else. So for me, usually I just prefer not to say it. But everybody is different. And why does it sound like somebody's typing on something? Is that me?
I have nothing. It's not me.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's weird. Connie, I won't necessarily say that around. I know women who hated being called female. It just depends on when then is. Because I mean, I've heard dudes say female since like 2009, 2010. And it just didn't become a thing. Well, I guess because of social media. Oh, it's the caption.
I mean, my plants are female. The other end of my mic cable in my studio is a female. My cat is a female. I'm a woman. Period.
No, you're also a female human.
Which is called a woman. So unless you're gonna say, okay, you female human, don't just call
me
I'm a female what?
So here's my thing. And I guess this kind of goes into I didn't want to talk about this just yet because I'm going to talk about it probably next week. But what I like to think of is the secret war on feminism or the secret war on femininity. Like you don't want to be referenced by your God ordained reproductive or God given reproductive system. That's where the word female comes from. It's supposed to be a reference to your reproductive system, but for some reason that's offensive, and that bothers me because then it's like, oh, being a woman's not great. Don't call me female. Like, don't reference my uterus and my ovaries. Don't call me female.
Am I a uterus and ovary sitting here talking to you, or my person?
No, but I am also a dick and balls. So like,
and I don't
like that's, I'm a person, but I'm a person. I'm more than just my dick and balls, sure, but it's what we have. Like I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you to stop calling me a male because like I'm more than just my balls. Like I know this is a good chunk of who I am. All right, because it's more than just parts. It's chemicals as well. It's just.
I wish I could see the comment. I feel like I'm missing everything anybody else would be saying.
Oh no, not really. It's 2000. He says since 2000 he's been noticing. Dog, you were probably what, like 10? I wasn't calling anybody a female at 10.
I was 9. I didn't.
I think this was in reference to your more than just your womb thing. There are 18 people on the live right now. This is interesting.
It's been holding steady at 18.
Sorry?
It's been holding steady at 18.
Yeah, I got all the way up to 21. I'm so proud of myself.
Maybe you can be the next Kevin Samuels.
I mean, my whole thing is like, I'm not trying to be the next anybody. I'm really just I've been saying all the same stuff for like years. I just didn't have a resource. I didn't have blackdemographics.com to reference or anything like that. Really just a lot of like experiences from myself and other guys. But for sure, I mean, for some reason, people are looking to listen to me talk about this stuff or anything really. So yeah, it's possible.
It's because of your controversial Facebook statuses. People want to know what else you got to say. That's what that is.
Yeah, and also here's the thing too, and this is what I tell people this all the time. For one, I've had the same Facebook page for years. Never been to Facebook jail. I only get unfriended by people like maybe once a month, if that, like maybe once every 6 months. And then when people see me in public and they have questions about my statuses, they always be like, "Yeah, you make so much more sense now that I can hear you say it." So maybe
Yeah.
this
There's a few men who don't like the way that I talk, who follow me on Facebook and always want to engage and always want to argue, but they don't ever unfollow me or unfriend me. So
yeah.
I mean that says something to me.
Well, I mean, it's social media. It's kind of weird to think about it though, because like there are some people who just keep stay on your page because they want the controversy, and then there are other people who will like they'll stay because they're like, okay, let me see how much further the rabbit hole goes. Aisha said, bottom line, if you can fix your lips to say female, you can say woman. Yeah, and you can fix your ears to accept female too. I'm just saying. It doesn't bother me that people use female, but I understand why it does bother some women. Yeah, I understand why it bothers some women too. Again, that dude who couldn't read decided he didn't have to say bitch anymore. That's what I like to reference.
Honestly, I only ever hear it used. I'm not gonna say only ever hear it used, but a good chunk of the time, I only ever hear it used when it's like you females or these
Yeah,
females, and it almost never. What follows is almost never positive. So that's
yeah,
also probably why. Yeah. So
that's just classical conditioning,
yeah.
and I get that, but I mean, you shouldn't crucify because at that point it's like, how much more language are you going to try to monitor? Like, how much more language are you going to try to like censor? Because I mean, you can there like it's kind of like Kevin Samuels, right? Like he doesn't necessarily like curse out or like curse at almost at every woman, but there are some things he says that are offensive to people, right? So it's how he says it, but it's really just about the listener. I mean, it's really about what you're willing to accept. There's and to say like you can't say female is just it kind of just takes out a whole really innocent definition out of the dictionary. Let's see.
One of the sassy things he does that I cannot stand is like so someone will be talking and or he'll talk and then they'll talk and when he doesn't like what they saying or he'd be like and I'd be like if you don't spit or something, my nigga.
I mean, everybody has their thing. I don't care for the fat tuba sound. I don't think that's really necessary. I do enjoy, however, when when he plays the slap noises. That cracks me up. That cracks me up every single time.
And I do think that sometimes he needs to chill. I think he's on edge sometimes too. Like I was watching one video with this girl, and I could tell that she was honestly just expressive in her face. Like she wasn't trying to make faces at what he was saying or anything. And he was like, and she almost seemed really taken aback because she was like this big-eyed girl. Like she couldn't help but be expressive, if I'm being honest. And he's just like, you can get off my live if you're gonna make them faces. This is what we're not gonna do. And she was like, huh?
Are you talking about the chick who was, I think she said she was like a size 4, but her face was so chunky that he was like, no. That's not.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Which is rude because like fat cheeks and a round face. I'm like, well, just let her show you her body. Let her show you, because I believed. I was like, she's probably fine. But no. Like, I don't think she was like making faces at him, and he just was like going in. And I'm like, simmer down, Kevin. It's all right. It's okay.
No, I agree with you. Again, there are just some times where I'm like, bro, you are a little bit too on edge. It doesn't happen very often, but I do recognize those moments where I'm like, okay, dude, you got a little too anxious to get her off your phone. But it's like, but I'm sure a lot of times you probably noticed too that, and you probably said to yourself, like, "Yo, this chick is wilding. Like, she a little delusional, right?"
Yeah, there was.
Uh-oh, what happened? I can't hear you. Oh no, I can't hear you. What happened? Oh God. Um. All right. Comment section. Rhode Island, neither a road nor an island. Let's discuss. Coach Norris said, no matter how much they weigh, that's not how you spell weigh, or how tall women are, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's absolutely freaking true. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Certainly, it is in the eye of the beholder, and I would never take that away from anybody. But her shout out to everybody who's still here. I know folks still got to put their kids to bed and everything. I don't know who all is here because for some reason Facebook won't show me. But I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you being here. It's 12 people, 9 reactions. It's not too bad. Last time I got all the way up to like 20 something. But yeah, Kevin Samuels. What, like, don't be so angry at Kevin Samuels. Like, there are like, again, Malcolm versus Martin, right? It's almost like, you know, the SCLC taking shots at the Nation of Islam. Like, we all trying to get to the same point. All right. I want to see black love back in our community. Y'all want to see black love in our community. And people just want to go about it a different way. So why can't we just accept the fact that some people are going to take it and accept it differently than others? I am a Kevin Samuels fan, stan sometimes, if you will. And I just want to see our people back in love. And I want to see our people back together. And I mean, 8 out of 10 divorces are filed by women, which to me says that the men want to stay. But a lot of times women don't want to accept the things that they get from men. And I'm not sure whether it's because, I mean, there are a bunch of reasons, but just kind of accept the fact like men are who they are and appreciate a man's value. He's not going to be, you know, a woman. He's going to be your husband. He's going to be a man. And if he's not a man enough for you, I mean, sometimes you should probably just look back and try to figure out, or I'm sorry, reconfigure what your definition of man is. Thank you, Mayline, for coming on and talking to me. I hope to do these more with everybody, maybe once a week, get together and talk about some kind of topic. I love doing this stuff. I love talking to people. I love just having the discussions, and it really helps to get off of the social media and out of text because a lot of things can get lost through text. A lot of things get lost through text, especially with me because I'm so like straightforward to the point. And a lot of people, when they hear me talk, they're like, "Oh yeah, he makes sense." But again, if you've never, or if you have this preconceived notion of Kevin Samuels and that you're only using clips to go off of, I challenge you to watch 3 full episodes of a Kevin Samuels broadcast. Watch 3 full episodes of a Kevin Samuels broadcast. Not just clips. You got to watch like the full 2.5, 3 hours of content that he has, because you'll get the full gamut of what he does. It's not bashing women. It's not always quote unquote rude or disrespectful. And a lot of times he's just reacting off the things the way that the women react off of him. I think he's pretty fair. There's a reason why his fan base has grown so much, and there's a reason why a lot of men follow him. And he always says that if you go to somebody's platform and there aren't men there, you shouldn't be there. Men don't follow Derek Jackson. Men don't follow pink pill stuff, like, because there's a truth that we don't talk about much that comes from a man's perspective, that we really need to discuss and figure out. This wine has got him committing a podcast. No, I'm holding the mic. I mean, yeah, but I also don't have a like shock thing. I don't have a shock thing to like hold above me. I'm probably gonna order one of those or a lapel, just so you could hear me clearly. But yeah, if you don't see men on a certain platform, that you know, that's probably not a good platform. If you want a man, you should probably listen to what men have to say. Men's opinions matter, whether you want to agree with it or not. Don't laugh. Yeah, he'll don't egg him on, Mayline. It was good talking to Mayline. I haven't talked to Mayline in years, and she said her and her dude been friends since like they were 6, and that I said don't remind me because I tried to shoot my shot in high school, and she was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna just get with this guy," and I was like, "All right, whatever." And then I was a little butthurt for a while, but I'm not afraid to admit that. But yeah, watch his content. Give like three videos, 3 full-length videos. If you got 9 hours worth of time, take your time to watch some Kevin Samuels videos and see if you don't change your opinion. The whole gay thing, we need to stop. Just because a dude is high fashion or, has some kind of metrosexual mannerisms, you shouldn't dismiss him because of that. You think he hates black women because he mentions black women and things they do. Just because he's not celebrating black women all the time does not mean he hates black women. I love black women. My mom's black. I want to marry a black woman. I want to have black kids. I want to have black little girls. But just because I want to point out some or critique some black women does not mean I hate black women. Melissa, I posted right here, she suggested some episodes for you to watch. The High Value Men Choose Wives Like Jenna Mai, Lonnie Love, Women That High Value Men Avoid and Men Should Pay for Everything is a good one. So if you don't really care for Kevin Samuels, by all means, watch 3 of his episodes. See if you don't come away with a different opinion. Call me for the poly talk. I'm in there. Yeah, I've been in a poly relationship too, so we can definitely have a good conversation about that. It's going on an hour and 45 minutes, which is way longer than what I expected to be on here. But I thank you all for showing up. I might move this to like YouTube or something. And Facebook Live. We'll see how it goes. But I'm definitely looking forward to speaking again with you all. And for those of you who can be here, thank you, and I'll see you later. Peace.